What if everything you think is real? This video you're watching, the device you're holding, even your own thoughts and memories, is actually an elaborate illusion? What if reality as you know it is more like a sophisticated video game or computer program than the solid, objective world you believe it to be? This might seem like something from the Matrix, but what if I told you some of the brightest minds in the world actually believe this could be true? Elon Musk has famously stated there's only a 1 in billions chance we're living in base reality. Philosopher Bostrom's simulation argument suggests advanced civilizations could create simulated worlds so perfect that the beings inside wouldn't know they're living in a simulation. And statistically speaking, we're more likely to be those simulated beings than not. But while this might seem like a cutting-edge modern concept born from today's modern world, the truth is that this idea was explored thousands of years ago in one of humanity's most profound spiritual texts, the Bhagavad Gita. What modern physicists and philosophers call a simulation, Bhagavad Gita calls Maya, a cosmic illusion that veils the true nature of reality from our perception. The parallels are truly striking. Both perspectives suggest that what we experience as reality is actually a constructed illusion. Both propose that there's something more fundamental behind the scenes, and both hint at the possibility of seeing beyond the illusion to a more authentic reality. So, are we living in what the Gita calls Maya and what modern thinkers call a simulation? And if we are, what does that mean for how we should live our lives? Today we'll explore how Bhagavad Gita anticipated one of modern philosophy's most mind-bending questions, and what insights it offers that even our most advanced theories haven't yet grasped. What is Maya, the cosmic illusion? To understand this cosmic illusion, we need to start with what the Bhagavad Gita actually says about Maya. In chapter 7, verse 14, Krishna tells Arjuna, "This divine energy of mine, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome, but those who surrender unto me can easily cross beyond it." Maya isn't just a simple trick or deception, it's a fundamental force that creates and sustains what we perceive as reality. Think of it like the core engine of a video game. It generates the world we experience through our senses, complete with its seemingly solid objects, consistent rules, and convincing experiences. This is remarkably similar to what simulation theorists propose. Just as Maya is described as a divine power that projects a convincing world, simulation theory suggests our reality could be an advanced program running on some unimaginably powerful computer. Both concepts suggest that what we experience as real is actually being generated by something deeper that lies beyond our perception. But there's an important difference. While modern simulation theory often leads to existential dread, the unsettling possibility that nothing matters because nothing is real, the Gita takes a completely different path. It doesn't just identify the illusion, it offers a way beyond it. Maya isn't a prison we're trapped in forever, it's a veil that can be lifted with the right knowledge and practice. The Gita teaches that seeing through Maya isn't about escaping reality, but about perceiving its true nature. It's like a video game character becoming aware of the code that creates their world, not to stop existing, but to understand their existence more completely. The matrix of material nature. If we are indeed in a simulation, how exactly does it work? According to an explanation in chapter 18 verse 61 in Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna says, "The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities, who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy." This verse contains an extraordinary metaphor. We are described as being mounted on machines, yantrarudani, made of material energy. This isn't far from what simulation theorists suggest, that our consciousness might be running on some kind of substrate or platform that creates our experience of reality. Just as characters in a video game move according to the program's parameters, our thoughts, perceptions, and actions are influenced by what the Gita calls prakriti, or material nature. We feel free, yet our choices are constrained by forces we barely perceive. The Gita explains these constraints through the concept of the 3 Gunas: sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, ignorance. These qualities combine in endless ways to create every aspect of our experience reality. In modern terms, they're like the programming languages of our simulated world, determining how we perceive, think, and act within it. When tamas dominates, we're like a character in a heavily restricted area of the game, confused, deluded, seeing only shadows. Under rajas, we're driven by endless desires and ambitions, constantly chasing new objectives. In sattva, we begin to see more clearly, as if briefly glimpsing the code behind our reality. The relation to simulation theory here is unbelievable. If we were in a simulation, our hardware would limit what we could perceive and how we could act, just as the Gunas are said to do in the Gita's system. The illusion of permanent experiences. Have you noticed how quickly our experiences come and go? One moment you're feeling happy, the next sad. You taste something delicious, then the flavor fades. Nothing in our sensory world lasts. The Gita addresses this directly in chapter 2, verse 14. O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed. This illusion of permanent experience makes perfect sense if we're in something like a simulation. In a video game, experiences are rendered only when needed. The game doesn't waste resources rendering scenes you're not viewing or creating sensations you're not currently experiencing. Similarly, our sensory experiences appear, serve their purpose, and vanish. Think about it for a second. You can't hold on to any sensation. Try to grasp happiness and it slips through your fingers. Attempt to keep tasting something delicious after you've swallowed it and you can't. In simulation terms, these experiences are temporary interpretations, not permanent features of reality. The Gita suggests that our attachment to these brief experiences keeps us trapped in Maya. Humans suffer because we cling to experiences as though they are permanent. Psychologists call this hedonic adaptation, the tendency of humans to quickly return to a baseline level of happiness no matter what happens to them. We think we'll be happy forever if we win the lottery, but studies show we adjust and start wanting more. This aligns with the Gita's teaching that chasing fleeting pleasures keeps us bound in illusion, believing they define our reality. We're like someone playing a virtual reality game who becomes so engaged they forget they're wearing a headset. Modern psychology supports this view through research on how our brains construct our perceptions. Studies show we don't experience objective reality directly. Our brains create a model of reality based on limited sensory inputs. We literally construct our experience moment by moment, just as a simulation would render reality on demand. The Gita's insight is that recognizing this illusion is the first step towards seeing beyond the illusion. When we stop identifying ourselves with temporary experiences, we begin to question what lies beneath them. Consciousness in the simulation. If we're truly in a simulation, who or what is experiencing it? This brings us to perhaps the deepest insight of the Bhagavad Gita, the nature of consciousness itself. In chapter 15, verse 7, Krishna explains, "The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind." The Gita makes a revolutionary claim. Your consciousness, your sense of I, is not created by the simulation. It's not a developing property of brain activity or a program running on neurological hardware. Instead, consciousness is something fundamental that exists beyond the material world, merely interacting with it temporarily. This is like saying you aren't the video game character. You're the player. Your true self isn't the avatar moving through the simulated world, but the consciousness experiencing the simulation. Just as a gamer isn't made of pixels despite controlling a pixel character, your essential self isn't made of matter despite inhabiting a material body. This mirrors one of the deepest questions in simulation theory. If we're in a simulation, what is consciousness? Is it part of the program or something external that interfaces with it? The hard problem of consciousness, how physical processes could ever create subjective experience, has led some philosophers to suggest consciousness might be fundamental rather than emergent. The Gita goes further, asserting that our suffering comes from misidentifying with our simulated characters. When we believe we are our bodies, minds, and personalities, all of which are part of Maya, we experience the limitations of the simulation as our own. We suffer when our avatars suffer, because we've forgotten we're the players, not the characters. This misidentification explains why we struggle so hard with our senses and mind, which the verse describes as prakrtistani, situated in material nature. Our consciousness gets so entangled in the simulation that it forgets its transcendent nature. The universe, a projection within something greater. How does this simulated reality relate to whatever created it? The Bhagavad Gita offers a fascinating perspective in chapter 9, verse 4. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. This verse describes a powerful paradox that aligns remarkably well with simulation theory. The creator or sustainer of the reality infuses it completely while remaining distinct from it, just as a programmer might create an entire virtual world while existing outside its parameters. Think of how a video game designer creates mountains, oceans, and characters that exist within the game. Everything in that digital world exists within the framework created by the designer, yet the designer isn't physically present inside the game. The code reflects the designer's intelligence without containing the designer themselves. Similarly, the Gita suggests our universe exists within a greater reality that sustains it while surpassing it. Everything we experience is contained within this greater framework, yet that framework remains invisible to us from within the simulation. Modern physics has some parallels to this concept. Some theoretical physicists propose our universe might be a holographic projection of information stored at the boundaries of space, essentially suggesting our three-dimensional reality might be generated from a more fundamental two-dimensional information system. The verse also points to another similarity with simulation theory, the idea that while everything exists within the simulation, the simulator isn't subject to the simulation's rules. Just as a game designer isn't bound by the physics they program into their game, the divine source described in the Gita isn't limited by the material laws that govern our reality. This creates perhaps the greatest paradox of our existence. We are simultaneously within the simulation and, in our essential nature as consciousness, beyond it. We are both the characters in the game and the players outside it, experiencing a world that is both illusory and real at the same time. Breaking free from the simulation. Now arises the most important question. If we are living in a cosmic simulation, can we ever break free? Unlike many modern simulation theories that leave us trapped forever, the Bhagavad Gita offers a path to transcendence. In chapter 5, verse 19, Krishna declares, "Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman, and thus they are already situated in Brahman." This verse contains a groundbreaking idea. We can transcend the simulation while still within it. We don't need to physically escape the material world. We need to change how we perceive and relate to it. The Gita offers practical methods for this transformation. First is meditation, which allows us to observe our thoughts rather than being controlled by them, like a player gaining distance from their character. Through regular practice, we begin to identify with the observer rather than the observed, the consciousness rather than the content. Second is detachment, not from life itself, but from the desperate clinging to temporary experiences. By recognizing the impermanent nature of sensations, emotions, and thoughts, we loosen Maya's grip on our awareness. This is similar to a gamer enjoying a game while knowing it's just a game, not mistaking it for reality. Third is self-knowledge, understanding our true nature as consciousness rather than identifying with our bodies and minds. As we recognize ourselves as the experiencer rather than the experience, we begin to see through the illusion. Have you ever had moments where reality suddenly seemed different, where you briefly sensed something beyond the ordinary world? These might be what simulation theorists call glitches in the matrix, glimpses beyond the programmed reality. The Gita suggests these aren't accidents, but the beginning of awakening. Unlike most simulation theories that leave us feeling powerless, the Gita offers something truly revolutionary: that the simulation doesn't have complete control over us. Our consciousness transcends it. By realizing this, we can live within the material world while no longer being bound by its illusions. This doesn't mean withdrawing from life. Rather, it means living more fully, but with the wisdom to see the temporary nature of our experiences. We continue to play the game, but now we know we're the player, not just the character on the screen. So next time, when you look at the world around you, pause and ask yourself, am I seeing reality or just a convincing illusion? The answer might change everything. If this journey through Maya has sparked something in you, then click a like and subscribe button and join us next time as we explore how to apply the Gita's wisdom to break free from the programming that limits your potential. Until then, remember, sometimes the most life-changing act is simply becoming aware of the game.